Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Produce Buzzers podcast. We are so happy you have joined us today, and I think you will be too after the show is over, because you will learn a lot about fresh fruits and vegetables, how to select and store them, how to prepare and cook them, and surprising facts about their history and origin. We hope it inspires you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, not only for your health, but also for your delight and pleasure as you explore their amazing world of taste and delicious flavors. Eating more of them will transform your life in so many positive ways. So settle back, relax, and get ready for another delicious adventure with the Produce Buzzers. Produce Buzzers podcast fans, welcome to another delicious episode of the Produce Buzzers podcast. I'm Edwin Stepp, your host and executive editor of producebuzz.com. I'm joined once again by Teresa Nolan, the founder and president of Produce Buzz, along with Rick Stepp, a contributing editor to Produce Buzz. We're missing our beloved Cynthia Benedetto today. She couldn't join us, but she'll be back soon. Produce Buzzers podcast fans, we are thrilled to have back on the podcast today a man that I'm going to start calling the Steve Martin of the Produce Buzzers podcast. We are so happy to have as our guest once again, Robert Schueller of Melissa's World Variety Produce. Now, why do I call Robert the Steve Martin of the Produce Buzzers podcast? Well, you probably know that Steve Martin has hosted Saturday Night Live more than anyone else during that show's long run on television. He has hosted it 16 times since the show began 46 years ago. That works out to about once every 3 years. Now, Produce Buzzers listeners, he's appeared on the show more than any other guest. This is the 5th time Robert has been a guest on our podcast, and we've only been on the air for a little over a year. So imagine if we go 46 years, how many times you'll get to hear from Robert. And you may ask, well, isn't that a bit too much? And we say resoundingly, no, because Robert has such a wealth of knowledge about fresh fruits and veggies that there isn't enough time for him to share all that knowledge, even in 46 years. And his knowledge isn't just about your everyday produce items like bananas, oranges, and apples. No, he knows so much about exotic fruits from all over the world. His official title at Melissa's is Director of Public Relations, but we prefer his unofficial title given to him by countless consumer and national trade publications, along with TV and radio personalities, Produce Expert. There is no one on the planet who is more of an expert on produce than Robert, because his company sells thousands of different varieties of fresh fruits and veggies from all over the world. And Robert has written several books on fresh produce and veggies. My favorite is his Melissa's Great Book of Produce, which tells about some of those exotic fruits and veggies from around the world. It's a beautiful publication with beautiful photos and lots of interesting and helpful information about all those fruits and veggies. Welcome back to the show, Robert.
Hey, thank you guys. Glad to be back here on the Produce Buzz here. Been waiting to hear from you. I love always giving you guys what's exciting, new, and in trend at Melissa's Produce. Melissa's Produce is the largest variety supplier of produce in the United States. It's easy to find our products at your local retail store, in the produce department, of course. The Melissa's logo, the I in Melissa's is actually a carrot, but we do beyond just carrots. We've got over 1,500 different produce items and stories to tell. Thank you, Edwin, and the rest of the gang there at Produce Buzz. I'm humbled by your introduction.
Oh, great. We're so happy to have you back. You're always so interesting. And as I said, you have so many things to talk about, and you sent me a list of some of the things that you think are going to be trendy in 2023. Hard to believe it's already that 2023 already. But we'll jump into that, and you can tell us about what you think some of them are. One of the things that you sent to me that you mentioned was miracle berries. That's a new product at Melissa's. Tell us about miracle berries. What are they? Where do they come from?
Okay, so about 10 years ago, we heard about miracle berries. We had a grower start growing miracle berries. we introduced them into the marketplace, and it went nowhere fast. It was a very hard item to understand, and there's really a good story behind it. But we now recently introduced them in a new form, dried, and they taste good, and they do something really weird. So let me tell you a little bit more about miracle berries. I'm sure everybody's now Googling what is a miracle berry. It is an actual fruit. It is it is origin in the continent of Africa. Oh. So throughout Africa, these miracle berries grow. They're little red berries. They almost look like holly berries. They're that small, but not poisonous in this case. Now, they grow in that really weird weather, where there's a lot of dry, and then there's the monsoon, and then flooded, and then it dries out, and it's desert like throughout most of the year. Now these fruits, there's a God-given reason why they're grown there, is because there's a very small growing season for a lot of the tree fruits. There's a lot of citrus that grows in Africa as well, believe it or not. The most popular is grapefruit. Now, the grapefruit only come into season about 2 to 3 months out of the year, but you always have these large grapefruit growing on the tree. Now, I don't know how far back this goes, but they realized if you eat a miracle berry, actually neutralizes your palate. So anything you taste that is sour tastes sweet. So what people would do in Africa is because of these grapefruit, they're big and green on the tree most of the year. Like I said, grapefruit are only ripe. The skin starts to turn like yellow when they turn ripe in the summer months. People of Africa have realized you eat the miracle berries first, you'll be able to eat the grapefruit that is super sour and unripe as a result of this. So what we did was we took the miracle berry, made it in a concentrate form in a little bag, and you get about 8 to 10 servings per bag. And this would be a really cool idea. You know how a lot of people grow trees in their backyard, and any type of citrus, or plums that are green, or peaches that are green, or anything that is green before its season. What you do is you eat the miracle berry, just one. That's all it does, you just kind of chew it up. It actually tastes really good. And
is it sweet? Is the miracle berry sweet?
It's sweet and tart. Okay. Think of it like a little tiny tart. It kind of tastes like a candy. That's basically what it tastes like. And after having it in your mouth for about 2 or 3 minutes, go ahead and bite into an underripe grapefruit or underripe orange, or I dare you to bite into a lemon or lime after having a miracle berry. Yeah. That lemon or lime will taste like the sweetest orange you've ever had. It tends on the citrus. When you bite into a miracle berry and you bite into a unripe citrus fruit, it tastes like a really sweet orange. So you got to try to believe.
Yeah. So I have there's a ton of questions here. I'll limit it to just a couple, though. First question is, where in Africa? I mean, Africa's got quite a different climate. I would imagine like South Africa, maybe Zimbabwe, those areas have kind of the climate you were talking about, where it's arid, but they get these monsoons. So where in Africa?
It's more southern part of Africa, especially along the coastal area.
Okay.
They just naturally appear, man.
Is there is a miracle berries a commercial name like kiwi fruit, or is there another name for this?
Yes. I mean, there's a Latin name for it, but it's hard to pronounce.
Right.
But they've been using the miracle berries in like cosmetics for a really long time, not for use of just enjoying them. See, when we introduced, this is what I forgot to mention. When we introduced them 10 years ago, one, they're super expensive. Two, they're super perishable. You got to keep them refrigerated. In this case, they don't have to be refrigerated because they're in a concentrated candy shaped form. And three, it was just too hard to understand why even try one. See, the thing is when you have a miracle berry, it will neutralize your palate for about an hour. So anything else that you eat, it's going to distort the taste and make it turn even sweeter.
Wow.
So I do not recommend having miracle berries and then a fine glass of wine. It will taste like simple syrup.
That's good advice. So these are freeze dried, I believe I saw. Is that how they're processed?
They're freeze dried.
Is it just the berry, or do you add some additives to it too?
There's slight additive, but that's only to keep it in a concentrate form.
Right.
So because these aren't the fresh miracle berries that are really perishable and have to keep refrigerated. It comes in a small package and it's shelf stable, and it has like a 6-month shelf life. So you don't have to worry about the problems that we had 6 months ago with the fresh miracle berries anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that popped into my mind, and you used it, I mean, I guess it's how it got started with grapefruit. There's a lot of people out there who don't like grapefruit. It's just too acidic, too sour for them, but they would love the health benefits of grapefruit. So maybe this is really a good solution for those people. I know people who eat grapefruit for the health benefits, but they don't like it. So I'm going to tell them, about this. And you can get that at melissas.com. It's on their website there, and you can order it. And I guess that can be shipped anywhere, right? It's not prohibitive.
Yeah. They're freeze dried. I mean, they're like a freeze dried form. So the package is very light, but I wanted to let you know they're very expensive. So I had mentioned that before, but the thing is it has a really good shelf life. So a little package of them is like $25.
And how many servings you said? 3 or 4? No, you said
up to 10 servings, 8 to 10.
Yeah. Right. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if nothing else, it would be a fun thing. This is a little fun, maybe for kids, especially. So to try out a birthday party treat.
Definitely.
Have you tried it with sauerkraut? I wonder how it would work.
It'd no longer be sour. It'd be sweet kraut.
That would be interesting, but something that I'm really familiar with eating is sauerkraut. It'd be interesting to see how it would react with that. I'm not sure.
But you like your sauerkraut, don't you? You like it sour.
Yeah, I do. It would be interesting to see if I would like it better.
I think a good experiment is you buy all the products that you hate eating, but like the idea of the nutritional benefit of it. Have one of these, and anything that tastes bad will taste sweet and good. So there you go.
Right. There's a lot of people don't like Brussels sprouts. I don't understand that because I love them, but probably because they don't cook them the right way primarily. But maybe this is a solution for Brussels sprouts for people who don't like that.
I don't know. I've never had a sweet Brussels sprout before, but one can try. I've only tried it with really sour. I usually try the miracle berries with lemons and limes.
Oh yeah.
So that's the only thing I've tried it with. I haven't tried it with anything else, but I realized that after I tried that, and anything I ate after that tasted really sweet than usual for about an hour. So there's my warning. Be careful. For an hour, it makes everything turn sweet.
So you could probably eat a whole lemon after that.
Easy. Multiple lemons. Make straight lemonade. Those lemons that if you live, especially on the West Coast here, as in Southern California, all those lemons on your tree there.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Make lemonade. Don't let them fall to the ground.
Yeah. No sugar. You don't have to add sugar. There you go.
No sugar.
There's another.
Good for diabetics. And are there any other health benefits with this miracle berry?
It's such a small concentrate because the actual fruit are small, so it only takes one berry to neutralize your palate, to making
Right.
sour, to go sweet. So I don't know if there's any health benefits, but if you ate a lot of citrus like lemons or limes at a sitting, that's where you will. First of all, you will never get scurvy. That's for sure. Having any type of a citrus in large quantities. So
Right. Very good.
Can they be grown in the United States?
the miracle berries are grown hothouse in the United States.
Okay.
But mainly for medical uses. That's we're the company that's introducing them in a food form. They're food grade, but they're used like in I believe they're used in some medication that taste really bad. I believe they use miracle berries in like cough syrups and stuff like that. So remember cough syrups back in the day? You would choke on it, and now they taste so pleasant. Miracle berry might be a part of that.
Interesting. Very good. What's the science behind it? Do you know why that happens? What's happening on the palate?
I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I try these things firsthand, after the fact, before anybody else, and just explore that idea. But that would make a great research project in school for sure.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me that it can, first of all, that it can stay on the palate that long after you eat a citrus, because citrus really cleanses your palate. So there must be something happening below the surface level there. Maybe it's like a hallucinogen, like magic mushrooms.
No, it doesn't give you any of that effect, but it does something to your palate for sure, and would distort anything that you would eat normally within an hour. I noticed in about an hour, maybe different with other people, but I would say don't eat one of these before going to a fine restaurant. It will distort everything that you're eating that evening. So
that's good. Okay.
I wonder if it would help, how people struggle to get medicine in their pets. I wonder if it would help with that.
I don't know. Maybe it's already being used. Like I said, they use it in a lot of medical and cosmetic industries. That's mainly where most of the miracle berries are being utilized. We're just the company that Melissa likes to introduce wacky fruits and vegetables to the United States.
Right.
And
you're great at that, and you keep us entertained and educated. Well, let's talk about another new thing on your items list this year: Calypso mango. Now there is a lot of varieties of mangoes in the world. I know that, but I've never heard of the Calypso.
Okay, now the Calypso mangoes are those mangoes that we're bringing in from Australia. Melissa's been known for bringing in Australian mangoes for the last 5 years.
Okay.
We're the only company that really does it. The reason for that is, most mangoes when you go into the store can cost cents to $1 or so. Usually during this time, they're about $1 each because it would be considered not the peak of the season. And the most common variety is called the Tommy Atkins mango. That mango is the most popular because it's the most imported variety into the United States from various countries. And it's not so sweet, but the thing is the Tommy Atkins variety is that type when you bite into it, you get the little, you get that mango mouth stuck in between your teeth, the fibers.
Yeah.
Well, the Calypso mangoes are out of Australia. So we're at the peak of the season for mangoes. Anybody who knows because they're below the equator. So anybody who knows mangoes, summer mangoes, spring and summer mangoes are simply the best. These mangoes are huge. They have a smaller seed. So they're about 2 times the size of a regular mango.
Wow.
But really what it comes down to is that we're importing in these ones from Australia that are super sweet, fiberless, and simply delicious. So these mangoes are a little bit more pricey. They're about $5 each in a $1 market. So Melissa's also known for bringing the best anywhere in the world to the United States. So it's not for everyone. I would say it's for everyone because they're so delicious. But during the months of late November, December, January, and February, you don't have a lot of desirable mangoes available to you in the marketplace. But we do have these Calypso mangoes that capture the great season out of Australia.
Yeah. Well, if they're 2.5 times the size of a regular mango and the seed is smaller, then it's really not that much more expensive. It doesn't sound like to me. Maybe twice as much. It's not 5 times more expensive considering if you get that much more fruit in my estimation. I haven't seen one. But what color are they? Are they yellow?
Oh,
red?
they're a gorgeous color. They're a red, orange to yellow.
Oh.
So they're a very attractive variety on the outside, very fragrant. That's always a good sign when you pick up a fruit at your local produce department that it has good smell to it.
Yeah.
And you just wait for it to just kind of soften up in your hand there, and then you're ready to cut.
Right. Now, I'm going to go back to a continental question again, like my African. Australia has quite a variety of climates. Are these grown in the tropical regions up north? Or where are they grown?
Oh, yes. They're mainly more the northernly on the island there. But, they have a lot of desert climate to the south. So, they're more northernly and whatnot. There's quite a few different varieties, but we found out over the last few years of importing these in that this Calypso variety is one of the newer varieties and most popular varieties that are grown in Australia. So that's the only variety that we have available. And Melissa's the only company that are bringing Calypso mangoes in from Australia at this time.
And the Calypso, I noticed on your webpage that the Calypso is trademarked. So it's a trademark variety. Do you own that trademark, or is that owned by developers?
That's owned in Australia. Yeah. That's the trademark variety that we exclusively distribute into the United States.
Yeah, but they've given you that exclusivity. So that's very good. Okay. All right. Well, those were the two things that popped out at me. There are a few others, but I want to ask Robert what he thinks our listeners might want to hear about for 2023. What he thinks is maybe the most interesting thing coming in 2023.
Okay, I love to talk about some of the newer items. I'll just like to continue on that list since we're to start hitting that.
Great.
The next up, and one of the most beloved fruit, but you only see it seasonally, are cherries, right? So you got cherries domestically that are available during the usually starts about May out of Washington, California, Oregon, and goes until about July. And that's our season. It seems like as soon as the season starts, it's over. And it's always one of those great items to have at like Memorial Day and 4th of July, and then they disappear. But we do bring in imports. For a long time, we've been bringing imports in from Chile during the winter months, December, January, and February. And, they're good. The ones from Chile are good. They are pricey, but they're good. Not as good as the summer ones. However, we are now bringing in cherries. This is going to be our second year. And we just started bringing them in back in early December. And we actually get them. The island off Australia is the island of Tasmania. And that is where we're getting these Tasmanian cherries. These things are bullets. They're delicious. They're large, almost like ping pong ball size.
Really?
They're firm and they're super delicious. These Tasmanian cherries are tasting better than the ones I had this past season in California and Washington. That even includes the Rainier cherries we were getting from Washington as well. These things are absolutely delicious. Go to your local produce department and ask for these Tasmanian cherries, especially if you're a cherry fan, which I am. It's a beloved fruit for me to just get a bowl of them and pit them all out, or have fun in the backyard, put them in your mouth, spitting out the seed. That brings back childhood memories, but I actually still do that. These Tasmanian cherries, I've never tasted cherries so delicious. Yes, they are a little pricey. They are imported in from Tasmania, but they're well worth it. And look in your local produce departments. now for the next few months, because by the end of February, they'll disappear and then come back next year in December.
Yeah. And you can enter the cherry spitting contest in Michigan. That happens. Have you ever been in a cherry seed spitting contest, Robert?
Just with my siblings when I was smaller in the backyard, but a cherry tree never grew.
You know what the record? You know what the record is for the cherry seed spitting contest?
What is the record?
I know it.
What is it?
We talked to it. It's 100 feet.
Oh my gosh!
With a tailwind of 40 miles per hour.
And a running start.
Probably. So
no, I think they can't. They're not allowed to get a running start. So they just have to stand. But that was it. At least that was it. We did a little segment on cherries in the past year, and that was one of the things. The other thing that
around like a shot put when you throw a shot.
I don't know. They may have. They may have different events, like you can get a running start and spin it, and you can spin around. I don't know, but I think the one recognized. The other interesting thing about spitting out cherry pits is that Roman soldiers in the Roman Empire were given cherries as part of their rations. Quite often, cherries were quite popular, and that was kind of almost like a bonus in the rations. And even today, along the old paths of the old Roman roads, cherry trees are growing where these soldiers, as they marched down these roads, would spit them out on the side of the road, and they're still there. Some of the cherry trees. So anyway,
a new product for Melissa's Roman cherries.
You never know, Rick.
What color are those Tasmanian cherries?
They look like a Bing, like bright red to almost a black color. So one glance at them and you think they're Bings, but they're their own variety grown in Tasmania. Tasmania is known for their cherries that supply for all of Australia. Australia grows them as well, but just as those Calypso mangoes are to Australia, the Tasmanian cherries, that's like the main import for Europe as well for these cherries, because they can't be beat.
Yeah, and Tasmania is getting into the colder climates. It's south, getting closer to the Antarctic. And so that mirrors kind of, we tend to think that the cherries in the northern hemisphere, the more further north they're grown, they tend to be better. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Okay. So what else, Robert? What's next?
Okay. Well, I'll talk about not only one of the newest products that we just introduced in the last week, but it came from a product that has been trending at Melissa's for the last few years. And I remember talking about this last year, and it was pink pineapples.
Oh, right.
So
right.
Melissa's is one of the few distributors for Del Monte pineapple, pink pineapples. This is a pink flesh pineapple. They're grown in Costa Rica. When we first introduced them back in late 2019, they were $50 each. And then in the 2000s, they came down to about $30 each. They're still expensive because it represents less than 1% of the pineapples that are available to us in the United States. So they're still growing the good crops bigger and bigger, month after month, because what they do is they cut off the top of the pineapple, the green that grows, which is not the edible part, and that's how you replant a new pineapple to grow. So when you go into your produce department, the pink pineapples are now not available not only online that I spoke about, but as of last year, you can now find the whole pink pineapples in your local supermarket. They're still pricey at about $25 each, but still a very novel item to your produce department, and one of the most rare fruit available in the United States. Now, as of last week, we now sell the pink pineapples pre-cut and ready to go in a clamshell. So if you don't want to buy, and if you have a small family size, maybe it's you and a partner, This is a perfect size for 1 or 2 people at a sitting. And it's a portion of the amount of product that you would buy instead of buying a full one. So it's not as expensive. So the pre-cut fruit category has been very popular over the years. You can see that when you go into your local produce department, that they have packages of pre-cut fruit ready to go. And so look for it. If you don't want to buy a big pink pineapple yourself, you can now get it pre-cut. And the good thing about what's so different, other than the fact the pineapple is pink fleshed, is that it has very low acidity. And a lot of people don't like pineapple because it has so much acid. It burns their gums and whatnot. So they don't usually have pineapple. Right. In this case, the pink pineapples are super sweet and very low acid. So you can enjoy the pineapple without the tingly burning sensation that you have in your gums that many people suffer with.
Right. That's good. I got to try them for the first time at what used to be called the PMA, Produce Marketing, the IFPA, the International Fresh Produce Association, this past October. And I did go to the Del Monte booth, and they had them there to be sampled. And they had the regular yellow pineapple next to them, so you could taste the difference. And the acidity is quite different. So, yeah, they're definitely worth it's not something you put in your everyday menu, but it's certainly worth a treat. Treat yourself sometime and get one of those pink pineapples. And I imagine what's the serving size on that pre-cut?
I think the pre-cut are like 5 ounces, could be 6 ounces. It's about a fourth of a pineapple.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
So you would figure that it's about a fourth the price because, like I said, now that pink pineapples are now found at local supermarkets across the country, they're about $25 each. So they're still a little bit expensive, but over time, as they continue to grow and extend to become more popular, the price will come down eventually.
Yep. But definitely a treat. You can pay a lot for a Starbucks coffee, people. Try a pink pineapple pre-cut serving instead. That'll perk you up and make you healthier anyway. So don't worry about the price. Treat yourself. Okay, that sounds great. Glad those are getting more and more prevalent because I'd really love to eat them more often myself. And I'm going to look for those pre-cut. So do you have something else now?
Yeah, no, hey, Edwin and Produce Buzz, I never run out of stories.
Of course, I know that.
Let's talk about a newer item only found in the produce department that we recently introduced this past year, guava paste. Now, guava, the fruit, has been trending for quite some time. It's been one of the more popular tropical fruit items. I think it has a lot of Latin influence, Asian influence, and this cross-cultural item that's popular in those countries especially. But, one of the big food trends that you've seen this year, probably even recently through the holidays, is charcuterie boards. And so guava is not typically a tropical fruit you find on a charcuterie board. It can be, but it's probably not very seeded, sweet. But we now do a guava paste. So it looks like it's what you would consider a dry fruit, like in a bar. And so what you do is you would cut them into squares, put them on toothpicks, and put them on a charcuterie board. They taste so wonderful. There's usually like a tropical jelly, I would describe it as, is popular for crackers and cheese that you would put on a, meat and cheese and vegetable and fruit board. This guava paste, this is the only one you'll find in the produce department, is super trendy, usually, or you'll find it in the produce departments right next to the fresh guava. But we just thought it would be a great idea since of the popularity of charcuterie boards, and the guava flavor taste is so popular in the United States as well.
That's fantastic. I love guava juice. I don't think I've ever eaten a guava just fresh. They do have a lot of seeds in them, I think, so maybe they're not that easy to eat fresh. But the juice I love, And when I saw the guava paste, I thought, oh, this. But since it's described as a paste, I thought, well, it must be something you would use in cooking. Or I guess you could spread it on a cracker. But you say you can slice it and put it on toothpick, so it's must be a pretty thick paste.
Yeah, I think of it as like cutting like a little thicker than Jello, so almost like a gummy type product, but without the seeds. So it wouldn't be crunchy. It would be more like a really thick jam or jelly or chutney type when you bite into it. So I'll send you guys some. Okay?
Oh, that would be great. Are they used any other way? Like, can it be used in preparation, like to add sweetness to something else?
Oh, most definitely. Definitely. You can use it in sauces when you're cooking. You can use it in desserts. So there's a multifaceted what you can do with it. It's just we were picking up on the trend of charcuterie boards, meats and cheeses, crackers, fruit boards, vegetable boards. This is one of those elegant touches you would add. You know, typically on a charcuterie board, you have some different dried fruits like dates and figs. Dried figs are really popular. Some of the dried cranberries, and this guava paste has become extremely popular. So
that's good. Is it pure guava, or are there any additives? It is. Wow.
Not really. I mean, you know, other than like water or something like that, it's de-seeded and stuff like that. It goes through a gel process. So there's very few things. It's, you know, the first ingredient you'll see is guava. So
yeah, great. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Guava and peanut butter sandwich would be great.
You can definitely do that. I've never heard of somebody doing that, but you definitely can.
Instead of peanut butter and jelly
or jam.
Yeah, peanut butter guava, and that probably would be better for you than jam or jelly because there's so much sugar in jam.
And the tropical fruits have such a great high rate of like vitamin A, vitamin C, and stuff like that. They have, you know, if you've ever seen a tropical fruit side by side comparison next to like an apple or an orange or something like that, you wouldn't believe how high many of the great vitamins and minerals like vitamin C that the guava has in it. So nutritious and delicious. So.
Very good. Okay. Well, we're getting close to end of time. There's so many questions I have for you, but we'll just have to keep having Robert Schueller back later. But how about one more thing? You got one more thing up your sleeve? Or?
Yes. Let's talk about another new item, chickpea snacks. Ooh. Now, Melissa's is always known for innovation and trying new products into the marketplace. And we are the only product company that does the chickpea snacks. So, you know, chickpea is a dried garbanzo bean, right?
Yeah.
And then chickpeas is what you do. You rehydrate them, smash them up, and you use tahini and sesame oil, and you make hummus. But chickpea has been used in many other things that you've probably seen, like pasta. So chickpea has a lot of protein, especially those who are vegan or vegetarian. How do you get your protein? Well, peas and beans and stuff like that, tofu, stuff like that. But what we did was we took the chickpea, and we roasted it. And so think of it as like a nut, and it's crunchy like a corn nut, but it would be perfect as a substitute to like peanuts for those who have like a peanut allergy or a tree fruit allergy. And you'll find that right next to our clean snacks. Our clean snacks are those granola chunks.
Yeah, those are
delicious.
Chia
and flaxseed. They're delicious. Well, we did this with our chickpea, and we call them chickpea snacks. And we do it in a garlic, and we do it also in a spicy chickpea snack. And so they're delicious and crunchy, just like corn nuts, and a great alternative to nuts or tree nuts, especially if you're allergic to them. So this is another item you can put on the charcuterie board. You can put it in a cocktail mix. I've had them on salad as a substitute for croutons.
Yeah, that sounds a great idea. Yeah.
So this is just another way these make great snack items to put in the kids' lunches when they go to school, or just, you know, a healthier snack versus like popcorn or candy or pretzels.
Right.
when you're watching TV or playing video games.
Are they lower in fat than nuts?
Um, well, they do have fat, but it's the good fat.
Right.
They do have a little bit less in that, but the one bigger thing is they have a lot more protein versus a nut. But really, we're capturing because of the fact that so many people nuts are a great thing. They're a derivative of in the fruit category, but we find that a lot of people have allergies to nuts or tree nuts and both.
Right.
So this is a great crunchy snack. It does have a little bit of sodium because salt is added, just like usual nuts and whatnot. But it's very tasty and has a great texture to it as well.
Yeah. Is it when you roast them like that, do they still stay pretty firm? Or I know that you said they're crunchy. I get that.
They're crunchy more like a corn nut. If you've ever had a corn nut.
Yeah.
So they're much crunchier than a regular like peanut or almond. So because they go through a roasting process, and that makes, because chickpeas are too hard to eat by hand, but when they're roasted, they soften out a little bit, so you're able to palletize, be able to enjoy it in your mouth. But like I said, it does have a hard crunch like a corn nut.
Right. So you have a garlic and then a spicy. Any other flavors?
Those are the two flavors we've introduced this past year, and you'll find them in the produce departments right next to our clean snacks.
Fantastic.
But I want to talk to you about one more last.
Oh, great!
Item. It's one of those. It's one of those items that is like very interesting and very Melissa's, because we're a company that just likes introducing something that is very exciting in another country, and I'm talking about Japan. We get these what are called crown melons. For those who have been in Japan, they're familiar with these crown melons because these melons, they're really expensive. So they're about $120 each. Wow. They're about the size of a honeydew cantaloupe. Look more like a honeydew on the outside. But they do something really special. In Japan, they treat fruit like, like it would be like Kobe beef or something like that. Something like sushi, like bluefin sushi grade. Because there's some spirituality and more symbolism behind it. We're talking about really